Hi, my name is Juliet Felton, and this is my video essay comparing poetry and music. Specifically, today I'm going to compare the song Good Riddance by Green Day and the poem Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas. To start off, I want to talk about the song first. The reason why this song is kind of emotionally important to me is because that the first concert that I ever went to was actually Green Day. My dad took me when I was in 8th grade, I think, freshman year of high school. And this song is one of their slower songs, and I like that a lot about the song. I like that it's slower, not as hard rock, I guess, as some of the other songs. And then this poem relates really well to this song, and I chose the poem that related most to this song. And so first I'm going to just read through the song, and then I'll read through bits and pieces of the poem that I think correlate well with the main points that I'm going to be talking today, comparing the two. So the song goes like this. Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the waist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you have had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hang it on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memory and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you've had the time of your life. And then it repeats over again because that's the chorus. And then, so I think this song is basically portraying living life to its fullest when you can, and not thinking about the end of your life and just taking each day at a time. And I think that the next poem demonstrates the same type of underlying message. So I'll read the next poem to you. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they've grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death who see the blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. And you, my father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. So, yeah, like I was saying, the first comparative point I have is just the overarching meaning of both the pieces. They're both pretty inspirational, almost uplifting. Although they use like sad terms, they're just kind of trying to portray how like times can be really sad, and a lot of people take those and they're fearful of the end of their time on Earth, instead of just taking each day as it is and making the most of your time here. So it's more of a optimistic outlook, and describing the pessimistic outlook that could be someone's reality. So it's kind of just trying to alter someone's version of their world and try and get them to see in a more positive light, and saying like, don't fear death, like go, like every day wake up and just be like unapologetically you, grasping each moment and just thriving in every moment that you have living. The second point that I wanted to compare is obviously the rhythm. Although the first song has 5 basically stanzas, I guess you could say. There are 5 like small paragraphs. Some are 2 lines, some are 3 lines, some are 4 lines. But the poem has 6, and in each stanza there's 3 lines. But I think that it has like a very similar kind of rhythm, and although there aren't specific words in the first song that rhyme completely, and it's not like a very rhyming song, there's definitely like a sing-songy, obviously it's a song so it's very sing-songy and it flows well together, and I think that's very similar to the second poem because there's stanzas and it kind of breaks up the song based off of the point of each stanza, and it does a very similar job of that in the first song. So yeah, so basically in the first and second work there's a decent amount of stanzas, and it creates kind of almost like a story of how you should change your reality. So I think that the rhyming and stanzas and like layout of the poem overall is pretty similar to the song as well. And then the last point that I wanted to talk about, comparing the two, are that they have very similar vocabulary and metaphors. In the first poem, or in the first song, in the first work, it talks about tangible things, so like photographs. It says, so take the photographs and still frames in your mind. It's talking about something tangible, photographs, something we're all familiar with. And it also says tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. And it's creating these beautiful metaphors that are not very common, so you wouldn't think of like taking photographs with your mind, but you have like that photographic memory and you are thinking back on different times in your life and you're remembering these specific instances such as you would see a photograph. Same thing with tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. Like, these are very ambiguous things, but it really hits home and gives the meaning of the song all that much more like emphasis in your mind, and it kind of like creates this whole like you're really imagining what they're saying in such a deeper way than if you were just to say like, oh, remember days. No, you're taking photographs with your mind, self frames with your mind, and you're visualizing the act of doing that, which is like a very almost Inception like concept, but it's really cool. And then in the poem, there are certain places where it does the same thing. So it says, though wise men at their end know dark is right because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. They're talking about things that are very tangible acts. So like forked no lightning. That is a very impossible thing to do. But it's kind of saying these things that once again make the point more impactful. Once again, it says, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. And that's those two things are so contradictory and like they don't fit well at all together. But that's what makes the point all that more like clear and pungent, which is incredible. So yeah, those are the three comparing points that I think these works have in common. And just to wrap it all up, I think, like I said in the beginning, songs and poetry are very similar. And in my point of view, every poem can really make itself into a song, and vice versa. Every song can become a poem. And I really think that it's just a matter of adding music to it. So I think poems are very musical and music's very poetic. So I think that's really interesting to compare the two and to take time to kind of dissect and analyze both of the works and understand what it is that makes them so similar and what different ways can some poems be similar to songs and how are they so different. And yeah, so it's really interesting and I really enjoyed doing this, and those are my works and how I compared them.